So most candidates think the hiring manager decides everything. But the fact of the matter is, if you interview with your future team, they can have huge influence. In today's video, I'm gonna teach you how to win them over instantly. Let's go. Okay, so the reason I made this video is someone recently commented that they are going to be interviewing with members of the team, and they wanted to know if I had any tips. And the fact of the matter is, this is a really important topic because if you get the opportunity to interview with members of your future team, you can learn a lot, but they also wield a lot of power when it comes to, do you actually get hired? Now, the first thing you need to understand is, what do they actually care about? The reality is your future teammates care a lot less about your resume than they do about what it's actually going to be working with you. They want to make sure they're not signing up to work with a terrible teammate. That's going to be way more important to them than where you got your education or what you've done in your career. They also want to make sure you fit in from a communication standpoint, from a value standpoint. Those things are really important. If you are interviewing with detailed and structured people, their expectation is your answers are going to get in line with that. You're going to have detailed and structured answers. If there is a big mismatch in terms of communication styles, in terms of the way you orient your thoughts, that could be a big issue. This is the big question they are all trying to answer when they interview someone who might join their team. Will this person make doing my job harder? And it is your job as a candidate to make sure they walk away understanding, no, that won't be the case. And by the way, if you're finding value in this video, hit that like button. It helps my channel a ton. Okay, so my first big tip here is you need to match their energy and communication style. So if they are more casual and laid back, don't stay overly formal, right? You want to match that. If they are a little bit loud and like high energy, like myself, for example, you want to mirror that. The mirror technique basically means you are matching the energy, enthusiasm, the amount of gestures that a person is doing. Now, you don't do this to the point where it looks like you're mocking them, but you want to be on the same energy, communication wavelength. This allows them to see you as someone who is similar to them right away. If you're going to have a dramatically different style, whether it's formality, energy, or communication, that immediately is going to put you at a disadvantage. So what you want to try to do is match what they are doing from a communication, from a formality, and from an energy perspective. Okay, the next big thing you need to do is you need to find opportunities to highlight how you work with others, right? So if you can give them examples of times that you've been able to collaborate with teammates, that is really going to help. You can say things like, in the past, I've partnered with my teammates to do blank. Or, as part of a member of my current team, we really like working on blank together, right? These are statements that show you are the type of person who enjoys working as part of a team. You are a good teammate. You're willing to collaborate with others. You are a willing participant when it comes to team activities. This seems small. It is not to them. Also, it's really important to show humility and emotional intelligence. If you can demonstrate that you have those two things, it's going to be very well received by future teammates. People who don't show humility, right? So they are cocky, they are bragging. They're people who talk about themselves like they are amazing at what they do, like too over the top. That is going to be like kryptonite when it comes to this style of interview, because nobody wants to work with a person who feels like they're the best to ever do it. Like future teammates, they don't want to see that in an interview. So you have to make sure you're not giving off that type of energy when you're talking to them. Speaking of that, the next thing you want to do is you want to show that you are low maintenance, high impact. You're the type of person who is easy to work with, but also gets things done. That is a very specific sweet spot, but if you can hit that sweet spot, it's going to help you a ton. Okay, so how do you do that? So you emphasize your reliability, talk about hitting deadlines. That's really important. You're someone who they can rely upon. Additionally, if there's any opportunity to talk about how you are good at receiving feedback, that's a positive. Like if they ask you the question, can you give us an example of a time where you took feedback? Like that's a home run. You want to let them know that you appreciate feedback. It's part of how you get better, and you're willing to take feedback from any source because you're that type of person. You're not sensitive, you're willing to listen to the perspective of others, and then you're willing to put it into action. Teammates will always choose people who are easy to get along with, are reliable, and are dependable. The next thing you need to do is you need to ask great questions. They're going to give you an opportunity to ask questions, and if you ask great questions at the end, it's going to be a way for you to stand out and make a lasting impact with people who ultimately are going to give feedback to the hiring manager. So what does good questions look like for future teams? You can ask questions like, what does a person need to do in order to be a successful member of this team? That's a great question. You can say, what can a new person do in the first 30 days of being employed that will make life easier for the current members of the team? That's a great question. That's a question they've probably never been asked, but imagine you were that person. Imagine you're interviewing someone for your team and they say that to you. I'm like, oh yeah, I want my life to be made easier. I appreciate that question. That isn't a challenging thing to do, but that little step, that little question you can ask can make a huge impact on how they perceive you. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to close the interview with like a powerful, team-oriented statement, saying something along the lines of, it was really great meeting you all. You seem like an awesome team and I'd love to be a part of it. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me at any point. I'd love to answer them. That right there is a great way to close. A lot of people don't close their interviews. The interview ends and they're like, I hope I get it. But they did nothing to actually make it happen. By taking some, it into your own hands and being assertive with the outcome you want and letting them know clearly you would love to be a member of their team, that is a positive thing. Now next, you can write them thank you emails. Now it's really important. Don't send the same thank you email to each one of them. You want to send actual, meaningful thank you emails that day to each member of the team. If you send it to only one or two people, like the most senior people, that's bad. The more junior people will say, oh, they sent you thank you emails? He never sent me a thank you email. You want to send one to every single person. And they shouldn't be copy and paste. They will talk about that. And if they're the same thank you email, that doesn't get it done. They should be slightly different. They should be unique. And the perfect thank you email, they're going to reference different things that the different one of them said, right? So if you ask them questions like, what's your favorite thing about working here? Or can you tell me about the ways your company's value manifests on a day-to-day basis? And they give you their own unique answers and you incorporate that information into a thank you email. It makes it incredibly powerful and it allows you to stand out and can serve as a future connection point. If this interview goes well, you're probably going to need to do an HR interview round, and that is its own unique thing. So I would suggest watching this video here. This video here teaches you how to nail the HR interview round. So I'm done here, but I will see you over there.